What is up, my fellow Chibits? Hopefully all of you are having a very good day today because the weekly chapters are finally here. And so let's talk about Boku no Hero Academia. If there's one pleasant thing I love about Horikoshi when it comes to his writing of Boku no Hero Academia, it's the fact that when it comes to emotional abuse and physical abuse, it's not overcome like that. It's not just gone. And that is what I truly respect from Horikoshi's writing of this series. Because Eri, as a character, she's like a typical girl you would see in a shonen, to where she is saved instantly, and she overcomes any, like, abuse she's gotten throughout her life, and she sees the light instantly. But in this case, the way this chapter is depicted, Eri sees no hope. She sees no light. And she only sees darkness, which is very, very depressing and sad. But at the same time, it's very realistic. Because when it comes to any form of trauma, you don't overcome that in just a day. You don't overcome that in just one, friendship talk or anything. You don't overcome that. It's not overcome by just talking to someone you just met. You just don't overcome that. Trauma does not disappear like that. That's just how it is. Trauma is embedded in the person, and it will stay there for a very long time. It takes a lot of time to overcome something like that, especially what Eri has been through. From what we already have heard about what's happened to her and what we've kind of briefly seen, it's obvious she's been through a lot, and she is very, very emotionally damaged. So there is just no way that she would overcome something like that in just one talk from Izuku or, Togato. So seeing how she came back to Overhaul was very realistic. Because when you look at her character and what she's been through, she feels like she has no self-worth. She feels like she is useless. She feels like she is the only one that should, take upon all the pain. And she should only be the one getting hurt while everyone else should be fine. She's trying to take it upon herself to protect everyone else by allowing only herself to get hurt. Which is very sad because at her age, she's probably experienced more pain than any normal person or any person will ever, actually feel in their entire life, which makes this situation even more sad because Eri has taken it upon herself to be able to just accept all this pain before she could save everyone else. And it just shows what type of hold that Overhaul has on her as a person, and that she just can't easily break away from him like it's nothing. She realizes, because ever since the beginning, when we saw her introduced and we saw Overhaul, outside with her, we saw that he had this control over her. He was able to call her back to him and all that when she tried to do something, and she knows, she fears what he can do. She doesn't necessarily fear that, she's going to get hurt. She knows it's going to hurt a lot. She fears the fact of others getting hurt because of her actions, and that is why she listens to him. So it's very sad because of the way this has been done, but it's just really good writing and realistic from Horikoshi to be able to do something like this with her character. So just Overhaul, not just a good villain in terms of power standpoint, but being able to manipulate people. He's truly on a whole new level of villain status. So let's talk about the fact that Overhaul has now just been given a buffet. He's been given a buffet of powers, and what just happened in this chapter, many might be thinking it's a good thing, like everything is good and everything's going to be fine now since, Dragon Team came in, the Best Girl Team just popped up and all that through the roof. Everybody's probably thinking, like, this is good and all that. That's good because, Overhaul, he's now at a disadvantage. There's just so many people that are going to be coming out. It's going to be like a 4v1. Obviously, he can't win against this, but that's the thing. You got to remember about what this stands for, or what's going on here. Overhaul, he's better when there's a large amount of people, because remember what his quirk is. Deconstruction, reconstruction, and we do know that he could forcibly destroy someone and then reconstruct them into his body. Now let's look at, Team Ryukyu for a second, okay? The Dragon Lady. She's very, very powerful. She's a veteran hero, so obviously she knows a few things. She's been around the block a few times. However, Overhaul is not someone that you could just, look at and say, he's nothing. He is scary OP, and his potential is scary OP. I talked about this in my last chapter review. Well, with this, with Ryukyu popping up like that, she's like a buffet for him. Because if he really wants to go a step further to win, and he doesn't care about, becoming a monster, he could actually break her apart and absorb her and then get her quirk. Just imagine how strong Overhaul would be if he absorbed her quirk and was able to be like a dragon alongside of all the other stuff he has. He would be an absolute monster. So when you look at these little things right now, Overhaul has a buffet, because if he could take out, the dragon, take out Rukyu and get her, and then take out, like, his other cronies and stuff, his lackeys from, the Expendables, then he is going to be insanely OP. So that's what I want to factor in here, is that Overhaul right now, if he doesn't really care and he can actually absorb more people, his potential of scary threat levels just jump through the roof, because she's such a big target. You can't just dodge Overhaul's abilities like that. From what we have seen from these latest chapters, especially with Togata, is that Overhaul is incredibly fast. He's not someone that you can think is just slow or bulky. He is a quick thinker, he knows how to fight, and he definitely will get the job done if he needs to by moving out of the way. I mean, he dodged Izuku in this chapter. Now, granted, Izuku is, very predictable with his movements, but it doesn't matter. He was also dodging Togata. He was dodging Night Eye, which shows that he does have a level of skill. So, this right here, with her being such a big target, if he even gets near her and disassembles her, she is over. It's GG, because she's a big target, and that's not good. That's not good at all. She will not be able to do anything if he gets near her. And also, on top of that, she has dragon breath, most likely. She's a dragon, so she's going to be able to breathe fire, fly, and stuff like that. But that is a big thing you got to remember, is the fact that she's a dragon, and if she has fire breath, obviously, she has a big AoE attack, so it's going to be massive, and with everybody being there, for instance, Izuku, Ochako, and Tsuyu and all of that, it's obvious that she will not be able to use her entire strength, because if she goes all in with her fire, she can accidentally harm her comrades, harm Eri, harm, Night Eye, and so she's going to hold back a bit to where she doesn't harm them, which in turn is going to work to the advantage of Overhaul. Now, let's also factor in another thing. If he gets his hands on Eri, it's automatically over, because you know how he is. He's willing to just destroy Eri like it's nothing, and then, reform her once again. He doesn't care. He will use her as a hostage just to get things done. So he is incredibly scary right now. So instead of looking at this as a good thing, that everybody popping up is turning everything around, this actually made the situation a lot worse, because now he has a smorgasbord. He can just go in and probably attack Rukyu and then get her. And that's not good. If that happens, it's GG. So let's talk about the fact that Aizawa. Let's get into Aizawa before I get back into Izuku stuff. So Aizawa, he's been captured. As we know, in the last chapter, he was captured. We get some clarification on his, status. It's like a status update when it comes to Aizawa. Apparently, Chronostasis, he actually got Aizawa and, got him slowed down to the point where he can't even move as fast as a snail. Like, he's moving slower than a snail. And the thing is this ability works up to like an hour, because he got hit with the hour hand. He is going to be slow like this for an hour. So Aizawa, he can't do anything. He's a type of person that relies on his physical self, his physical combat. He doesn't just rely on his quirk to get things done. So if he can't even move, automatically he's useless. So Aizawa is effectively out of this fight. There is nothing he can do whatsoever. Nothing at all. So he is done for now. He's not going to be participating at all. The only way he can do anything is if, somehow he's flipped over thanks to the fight, and then he gets to look at someone and then shut off their quirk. That's the only thing. But besides that, he can't move, so he can't really do much at the moment. He's still alive, but he is definitely useful. Knowing how Overhaul is, most likely Overhaul might try to absorb Aizawa. I can definitely see something like that. Maybe he's going to try to absorb him to be able to get his eraser quirk before he can erase other people's quirks, because he's incredibly powerful. Like I said, his potential is insane. He can be basically like, all for one. That's exactly what he can be like because of how his quirk works. So anyways, let's get into the Izuku stuff. So Izuku's fight with Overhaul, overall, gotta say, it's amazing. It's just 10 out of 10 quality. The fight with Overhaul is just quality. That's all I can really say. That's just how good it is. I cannot wait to see this fight animated in, the anime. I'm just really excited for it, because the way this looks, it's so intense. I mean, when you see how Overhaul, he's sitting there grabbing, like, pebbles and stuff, he's forming the rocks out, he's attacking Izuku, Izuku's in midair, and he's having to move real quickly, dodge, he's flipping in the air and all of that, trying to dodge the attacks coming in. It just shows how crazy powerful his quirk is. For instance, Izuku's and Overhaul's, and the fight's just very, very visually impressive, the way it looks and the way they're fighting, and how Overhaul, he knows that he needs to destroy himself and reform himself if he wants to win this. And that's the scary thing about this as well. If Overhaul runs out of stamina, he just needs to destroy parts of himself and then reform it, and then the stamina's back. That is the terrifying part about this, okay? That is something I need to talk about. So it is established in this chapter, and I want to get into Eri and then talk about Overhaul. It's established that when Eri was tired and she couldn't really do anything anymore, like she was exhausted, she couldn't move any longer, he would actually destroy Eri, and then he would reassemble her to where her stamina and blood and all that would be completely back. So what you can get from this, basically, is that Overhaul, he was draining her dry of blood, or whatever, he needed to create his, quirk-erasing bullets, and then once, she was basically on the point of death, he would blow her up, reform her again, and there you go. And that's exactly what he did. Over and over again, probably for hours at a time, which is just nightmare fuel for Eri. I just couldn't imagine how painful it is, because he even states in this chapter, he's like, you know how painful it is with me having to do this and destroy myself and reforming? It hurts quite a bit. So if that hurts already just reforming his arms a couple of times, just imagine how it is for Eri that was probably getting completely destroyed. Just scary thought when you think about it. So anyways, in terms of stamina wise, it is confirmed that if he does destroy himself or parts of his body, instead of just healing himself, it also gets back the stamina. So he has no stamina issue. That's scary. He has no stamina issue. So if he's getting tired or whatever, or his legs get blown off, just reforming them, there you go. If his legs are getting strained, the muscles are getting strained, breaks them, reforms them, there you go. He doesn't need to stop. He literally is a monster with no end supply of stamina. He can continuously fight for probably long periods at a time if he just destroys himself and then reforms. That is what's scary about this. So, oh man, just more and more I see of Overhaul's character and his fighting style, he's scary. I don't know how Izuku and anyone's going to be able to defeat him. He's probably going to get away. I can actually see him getting away from this fight and not getting defeated and actually getting away with Eri. And then it's a total loss for the heroes. I can definitely see that just because of how he's being showcased, how Horikoshi is building up his character. It's obvious that he might not get defeated here, which I actually would really like because he's a really cool villain. And I want to know more about him. I'm fascinated about his character. So let's talk about Eri. Let's get back into Eri real quick. So Eri is kind of confirmed to be the daughter of the original boss of the Mafia. She's not actually the daughter of Overhaul, but she is the daughter of the original boss. The dude that's laying down in the bed and all that, that's not awake in a coma? Well, apparently from what was established with the translation note is that Eri apparently is the daughter of his. So that right there shows that he has been messing with the main boss's daughter and blowing her up and then reforming her again. He's been doing that to it. And that would explain why the boss acted like he did. He's like, if you go down this path, then obviously the entirety of our, organization is going to look at you like a monster. It makes a lot more sense now with that clarification that Eri is his daughter. So I just wanted to point that out. I want to talk about the theory that many were bringing up I saw on social media, and it came to my attention. I take no credit for this, but it was brought to my attention. Many were saying, hey, Chibi, for a fact that Night Eye's, vision, it could be true, but at the same time incorrect. And I was like, wait, what are you talking about? Apparently, from what someone told me is, they are like, Chibi, you gotta remember something. Who's in this arc? Toga and Twice. Toga and Twice, they can transform and clone themselves. So when I was thinking, I was like, wait a minute, you're correct. I was like, this is very correct. And when you think about maybe what Night Eye saw in the future when he saw Izuku, get killed, and he saw himself get killed, maybe he saw, Toga and Twice, their clones or whatever, getting killed. That is a possibility, because they are clone capable. They can clone themselves or whatever. Or, Twice can clone himself or clone others, and then Toga can transform into others. So there is a possibility that what Night Eye saw was actually the clones. And so it might not really be them dying. I still think Night Eye should die, though, because it's not that I dislike him. I feel like it would have more impact if he was to pass on. But still, the main fact remains is that maybe what he did see was Togen twice. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I love you all so much, and if you like this video, please leave a like. If you like my content, please subscribe. And if you want to support me for I can continue to focus on YouTube, please go in the description and support me on Patreon. It helps me out a lot. And so I love you guys. Please be safe. Chibi out.